Hey everybody, I'm going to make a little demo video here that will detail the steps to make your very own watercolor paint using something called the lake method, where we extract pigments from all kinds of different organic materials. So here we go. Scrappy is here with me to provide some assistance. I'm going to make two different ones. One using these lovely dark green broccoli greens from my garden, and another one from banana peels that I've been saving for a couple weeks. Other stuff you'll need is alum powder. Gum arabic is our binder for watercolor paints. We need some washing soda, coffee filter, strainer, mortar and pestle, and just something to measure our liquids with. So I chopped everything up a little bit, thinking maybe that'll make it easier to extract the pigments. And I've got two different pans going on a low boil here / simmer. The math that we're using is per 100 milliliters, so keep that in mind. It makes it a lot easier to do the math if you work in 100 milliliter increments. So I put maybe 120, 130 milliliters in there each pot, so that there's a little bit extra liquid as it boils off. And I'm just going to put everything in there and let it simmer at a low boil until it seems like the pigment has been extracted and the liquid gets a nice color to it. So here we go, next step. Let's check out this banana peel concoction. I boiled it for about 30 minutes and then just let it steep in the hot liquid for maybe another 30 minutes, and it's turning out a kind of nice caramel brown color. I didn't know what to expect. But it soaked up a lot of the liquid, so I'm just going to keep trying to squish it and get all the liquid out I can and get at least 100 milliliters. And here's what I got from the broccoli greens, a really lovely dark mossy army sort of green. I think that's going to be really nice. Okay, so next I have 5 teaspoons of the alum powder, and I've got some hot water here, so I'm just going to pour this in and dissolve the alum powder really well. So let's dissolve that. Good, so it's 5 teaspoons for 100 milliliters of lake solution. So pour that in and stir that up. Next is 1 tablespoon of the washing soda. Same thing. Dissolve this well, and then we're going to pour it in. When you pour this in is when you have a really foamy reaction. It's going to foam up, so you want to make sure you've got a big enough jar to where the foam doesn't, spill out the top. And this will be also a good time to make sure that you got some protective eyewear or something like that, just in case. But here we go. Pour this in. We'll watch it foam up. Crazy, huh? So I want to stir this good, and it gets nice and foamy. Whoa! And then we're just going to let that do its thing. The foam will subside in just a little bit. All right, I added the washing soda to both of them, and they're nice and foamy. And this is going to settle over time, and all the pigments will end up sort of clumping together and separating out from the liquid. The foam has subsided some, and so now I'm just going to strain everything through a coffee filter, and all the liquid will drain right out and the solid pigment should be left. I let the liquid drain out through the coffee filters for a while, and we're left with this paste that I am just going to let sit and dry now. Kind of interesting how the colors shifted so much. The broccoli leaves kind of became a split pea kind of green, and the bananas kind of a beige gray, and it has some weird kind of gel-like stuff that coagulated in there, so I'm not sure if it's ultimately going to work or not, but we'll give it a try. So we'll catch back up with the video after these dry out. Okay, as you can see, they both are really dry now and powder dry. The banana got really light. I was hoping it's going to be a nice dark brown when I started, but the broccoli greens still have a nice greenish color to them, so I'm going to use them next. For this next step, I'm going to put them in the mortar and pestle and just grind it up to a fine powder. Alright, so this is pretty fun. Just going to grind and grind and grind until I can get it just fine and soft and just like baby powder. I got that nicely ground up. So the next step is to take some gum arabic, which will be our binder for watercolor paint, and I'm going to mix it 1-to-1 with some water to get a nice solution of it ready, and then just fold it into the pigment until I get a nice kind of slightly more runny than pasty mixture, and then it's basically going to be watercolor paint, and we'll just let it dry to a cake form, and it's ready to use whenever. Well, okay, we have it, y'all. We have gone through all the steps, and I added the gum arabic with a little bit of water, mixed it with the pigment, poured it into our jar, and now we just gotta wait for it to dry, and we have ourselves some homemade watercolor paint made from broccoli leaves. Pretty cool.